think it's a really good question, because what you have is, for example, what's happening I don't know, almost 2 decades of rule of Hasina, yeah, dictatorial rule. So when she is removed, it's euphoria, yeah, it's like a form of liberation. Yeah. When Assad is removed, it's euphoria, it's a form of liberation, right? And that is to be celebrated, right? So so people are very euphoric, yeah, very emotional that we got rid of a tyrant, this freedom, etc., which is fine, yeah. But there's a huge danger here, and this is where the point of the change should not be based on emotions. It should be based upon clear idea, a clear thought, a clear program. What does day 2 look like, right? I'll give you an example. I mean, for example, the issue of Taliban. Taliban, they were shocked, yeah, that they didn't plan to go into Kabul, and they were absolutely shocked. The Americans are leaving. And they said, oh, we didn't have no plans of going into Kabul, so we have to go to Kabul anyway. But somebody asked the question to some of the officials of Taliban, what are you gonna rule by? Yeah, what are you gonna rule by? They said, oh, and one of the answers is that we'll use the old Afghan constitution. So the issue of what you're going to rule by, what does day 2 look like? You find amongst those who are involved in change is very unclear what day 2 looks like. Same thing we're seeing in Syria. In Syria today, what day 2 looks like shouldn't be a case that we need 4 years to figure it out. Because if recently what they did, so it's going to take us at least 4 years, yeah, to figure out the roadmap, the new constitution. And you kind of ask yourself, for the last 13 years, did it not occur into your mind, unless I'm going to give you benefit of doubt answer here, right? Not an answer where people might think I'm just being conspiratorial, right? Let's just give the benefit. What have you been doing for 13 years? If you are planning to remove this regime, what does day 2 look like? That means you didn't have a vision. You did not have a vision. What does day 2 actually looks like for 13 years? And now you are saying, well, we're going to have 4 years to figure out. And even this 4 years what is there to figure out? I mean, there's a basic thing of what? This is going to be an Islamic society, an Islamic state based on Quran and Sunnah. Sure, if they said for 4 years to figure out the Islamic constitution, get the ulama and the scholars, to draft, I can take that. But you're not even committing to saying what? That's going to be based on Quran and Sunnah from day 1. So what is the issue here? The issue here is that the change often, is driven by emotions and not an underlying fundamental vision of how is this society going to function? Your day 2 program. How is the economy going to function? How is the politics going to function? How is the education going to function? What's going to be the relationship between your country and other countries? What is going to be that relationship? Is it going to be that same relationships of subservience? I mean, in Syria, it's absolute. Assad Shaybani, he's sitting in Davos with one of the worst work criminals in the history. Tony Blair, he's sitting with him. The killers of the Muslims of Afghanistan and Pakistan, and you're sitting with him, and he is also the former supporter of your enemy. Either this is absolute naivety, or this is betrayal and treachery. Ittaqillah. It's one of the two. My point here is that this change in our countries has to be thought-led. It can't be just emotion-led, yeah? Because it will just take you so far, and then what happens, you will be exploited, you will be used. The former regimes will come back in a different face, in a different guise. So this is the issue here. That the issue is that the Muslims, when we are calling for change, we need to have a comprehensive vision. What does the new Islamic society look like? Not in terms of vague slogans of justice and freedom and equality, right? These are just hollow slogans. These are slogans used by communists, capitalists, Muslims, everybody alike, but they mean different things. Who doesn't want justice? Who doesn't want freedom? Everybody wants freedom. Everybody wants justice. No one says, I don't want justice. But what's your conception of justice? What's your conception of freedom? This is where I think the main problem is in our countries. Muslims, we know, it's not that Muslims are not cowards. Muslims are brave. I mean, just think of, Palestine and Syria. The sacrifices, it's just unimaginable. 15 months of genocide and they failed to remove these people from Gaza, yeah? You apply the same genocide to any other countries, within 15 days they would have left that strip. They would have said, forget this piece of land, I'm going to escape. I'm going to go to I'll take my chances in the Sinai mountains. So the Muslims are not brave. Muslims are brave. They sacrifice. They have everything. But what's lacking is the people who are leading this change, who are calling this change, is to have a new project, a new vision about how the Muslim world should be reconstructed, how the world should function. Otherwise, what you're going to have is that what we saw in the Arab Spring, what we're seeing in Palestine, what we are seeing in Syria, what we are seeing in Bangladesh is that you'll get rid of one tyrant and then you'll have another system, another tyranny will continue. So this is the important thing, I think, is that what is your plan? What is your project? If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a project, then unfortunately, the struggles that you go through, the sacrifices that you make, you're not going to really benefit from that. And I think this is where we have a role. We have a role in our community to raise that question, to say, what is the project? What is the project? I mean, think about Syria. Syria is like an Islamic land. It's deep rooted. It was the capital of the Khilafah. It's got Islamic history for 1400 years. It is the ideal place to make the case for Khilafah. But why is there a discussion? We need 4 years to figure out what's the identity of our state. What do you mean you need 4 years to figure out what's the identity of your state? That means what? It means that there is an agenda here. The agenda here is that business as usual. But we need to raise that discussion in the community to say, right, this is what the project is. And I think that's where this question of we have to be equipped to say, right, what is Islamic politics? What is Islamic economics? What is Islamic social system? What is Islamic education? Yeah? What is Islamic, foreign policy? How is the economy going to function? We have to really explain that vision to the Muslims, say Islam has a project.